And we're live. Thank you for joining. This is totally unannounced. If you're new to me, thank you for joining. Those that are going to be going in on live, thank you. For those of you in replay, this is something that I've slowly been building up traction. And as the title states, this is gLo Sessions, episode 14, Why I Left Hawaii. Part 1. I say part 1 because there's probably gonna be a lot of parts to this. And so for those of you that don't know the genesis of the story, I am from Hawaii, obviously, born and raised. I'm Native Hawaiian. I'll give the details in just a second. But in October 12th, 2021, um, got a phone call. My dad was in Oregon, my brother as well. Found my brother on the floor, and he doesn't know how long he's on the floor, unconscious. Long story short, October 13th, I was here in Oregon to find out my brother was in ICU. He suffered 7 strokes, 2 blood clots, one in the midbrain, one in the cerebellum. I think those are 2 different places. Anyways, long story short, that was the beginning of why I left Hawaii. So we'll be back in 30 seconds to talk about it. So we are live on YouTube, Twitch, X, formerly known as Twitter. Once I'm done with all of this talking mumbo jumbo, I'm going to upload the audio to um, what do you call that? Spotify. So I do Facebook Live as well, but when I do conversations like this, I keep it kind of out of Facebook, and we'll cover that in just a second. We are coming in hot, so I have my mic at 60 dB for all of you tech heads. If you don't know who I am, my name is Brother Greg, aka the Real gLo. I started that moniker, that name. I got to give credit where credit is due to a friend of mine out there in Hawaii. Some of you may know him on social media. He is by the name of Arabro 808, also the founder of Up Hawaii or Ukulele Project Hawaii, and he kind of courted me to do live streaming back in 2015, 2016. And he was Airbro, and I was like, "Hey, I gotta come up with something catchy." And so that's how the real Greg Lopez, aka the real gLo, not to be confused with JLo. I'm not a sexy Puerto Rican girl, but I am the real gLo. So that's how that started. We are going to talk about why I left Hawaii. And for those of you that don't know, I am Native Hawaiian. My mom was Hawaiian Chinese. My dad is Filipino. I say was. My mom passed away in 2014. And so that makes up who I am ethnically speaking. Born and raised Hawaii, true local boy. I suppress my pidgin or the way that I talk as much as possible, not to suppress it on purpose, but um, for anybody that knows, if you're from Hawaii, uh, and you're not in Hawaii and you try to talk like you're from Hawaii, sometimes you got to repeat yourself quite often. And so you learn to cultivate a language or verbiage that uh, will warrant less repeating as much as possible. So, well, that's that. Um, man, there's a lot of things to talk about. And um, my goal for this is to be able to get a lot of interesting guests, and I've been blessed so far. Papa Bear Alaska, Brother Ron Pratt has been gracious in the beginning, the genesis of me doing these. When I had a white sheet in the background to hide the dirtiness of my office, room, whatever. And he's been gracious. I think we've done 3 of these together. We've had Tala and Janae. we just talk story, and that's kind of how I like it. And then Dr. Terry Lynn Kim, who is a clinical psychologist, 3 weeks ago, and then last week or 2 weeks ago, we had um, a retired Marine, force reconnaissance Marine, who is the founder of the Marine Reconnaissance Foundation, which takes care of families and anything to do with marine reconnaissance and so but anyways, it was cool to have that, and it'd be nice to have a Joe Rogan type schedule, but in the real world at this season of my life, it's not possible. So doing these where I just talk and kind of share a little bit what's going on and kind of lead up into what I would like to eventually is to do more consistent daily or multiple days throughout the week, just talk story myself. And so, once again, thank you for being here. For those of you, I do have my YouTube and my Twitch live. I wish Twitch would actually save these longer than a week. I think after a week it goes away. So, but to kind of jump into why I left Hawaii, if you weren't here in the very first minute, um, born and raised, typical local brother, born and raised from Hawaii. Um, got a family of four, been married, been with my wife 25 years pretty soon. Um, October 12th, 2021, get a phone call. My dad finds my brother on the floor unconscious. My brother's older than me. He's 3 years older than me. And basically, he's not responsive. Dad's in shock. And so we figure out a way to call 911 from Hawaii just because. And, anyways, October 13th, I'm here in Oregon tending to whatever I need to tend to. Um, Now at the time, my dad and my brother both had COVID. And my brother had COVID. And so that kinda complicated a lot of things, and just the whole all the mandates was crazy. If you remember, let's not forget how crazy it was, just all the mandates and all the craziness of it all. And, anyways, from that day, um, flying back and forth, Hawaii, Oregon, Hawaii actually, my first from October 13th, I was in Oregon for a month. And, mind you now, we got bills, we got our church at the time, we were, hosting in Honolulu. My wife and I are pastors, so a lot of crazy things going on. I gotta give a shout out to my wife and also to my sister-in-law, Dion, Nakamura. They are, in my absence, they held things up, and I think the sometimes the ladies don't get enough credit, for the work that they do. And, going back to Oregon, so flying back and forth a lot, by February of 2022, 3 months later, or no, yeah, basically 4 months later, we're already here. 4 kids, oh, my oldest daughter graduated college out in the East Coast. So, my 3 kids, my mother-in-law, my 2 bulldogs, probably ship my 2 bulldogs. Anybody that has dogs, bro, I'm telling you, it is not easy to take bulldogs on an airplane. If you know anything about those breeds, I would say 95% of airlines does not want to fly bulldogs on the airplane. And the reason is they are a health risk. The fatality rate is pretty high when it comes to those type of dogs in general, according to the airlines. I don't know the statistics. So I don't want to just pretend I know. I don't know everything. And So anyways, yeah, we shipped our 2 bulldogs. We shipped my wife's car here. We had another car, Subaru, that we sold. And in hindsight, I'm thinking, I think I should have shipped the Subaru to Oregon. So anybody that's from the Pacific Northwest, you know that Subarus are king. Even over Audi, over all the other all-wheel drive vehicles, Subarus are king. In Hawaii, it's all Toyota, Hondas, Hyundai, and all those other Korean brands. But in Oregon, Subaru. I don't care if you're It doesn't matter. It just yeah, Subarus. So anyways, uh, everything. We uprooted, brought everything. Um, I will say it was very expensive to ship and move that quickly. I won't even give dollar amounts. You can just guess, right? If you just ballpark it, even if you ballpark it and you lowball it, it's still very expensive. And we're not wealthy by any means. We are blessed, but we're not wealthy by any means. So it was a major move. Um, so that's the beginning of why we're here. And one of the things um, I think for the first few months, we struggled like any typical islander that moves out of the islands would struggle. Um, the most common are the obvious, tangible, organic things like no ocean. There's no ocean for thousands of miles, or hundreds of miles if you drive to the coast of Oregon, but it's different. The food is radically different. When you are in a city of a million people, your food choices are a lot. I mean, just to put it into perspective, the city limits of Honolulu are actually bigger than the city of Portland. So it kind of puts into perspective of the culture, the food, the size. Now, in total sheer size, Portland's a lot bigger, but in population, Honolulu definitely wins, and that includes even the airport. I think. Well, they're pretty close now, but getting back to the struggle, that was a struggle, and then just missing family. Even though we were traveling, so my wife and I were still traveling back. I think in the past 12 months, we went back 7 times between me and her, and that's a lot, and that's very expensive to fly back that much, and so it definitely, and we didn't do it for vacation. That I mean, that would have been nice, but it was a lot of it was ministry related. We did conferences. I think we did one, two. We were a part of 3 conferences. I think I know I should know this better, but when I go live, sometimes my brain dexterity is not as good. So even though going back and forth a lot, it still is not the same as living in the islands, and so that was a struggle. But the one thing that I will say that really gave us roots here was I came to the realization that because I would say this a lot. I live in Oregon, but my heart is still back home in Hawaii, and that's a very common thing that to say. And a lot of people maybe you've heard that before, maybe you didn't, but it's very common to say that. And then I got to a point where I felt convicted, and I was like, "Okay, Lord, I know that I should be effective while I'm here." Um, and I'll talk about the time in just a second. But when I said that I want my time here to be effective, um, then my mindset changed. I started to say, okay, well, no, the reality is my heart is not in Hawaii, although that's my home, that's where I'm from. My heart is wherever God is calling me at that season of my life. And if it's in another state, if it's in Colorado, then that's where my heart is and where it should be. I will always long for my roots and where I'm from, but if that's not where I'm supposed to be at that specific season of my life, then it will not be productive while I am there. And I think it goes to that saying where, so for those of you that know me, we were blessed to be able to help open a drug and alcohol rehabilitation center in Kailua, Oahu back in 2019. With brother Royce from Texas. Anyways, uh, and one of the things that we would counsel these guys that are struggling and walk, and it's not just because of that, even just in general, just through our family experiences. But one of the things that we walk some of these guys through that it's not a location that will determine how productive you're just because there's drugs and alcohol maybe in Texas, and that's where all your friends and family, and you figure if I just come to Hawaii, I'll be okay. And that's partially true. But the truth is where your heart is not always in a location. And I know I just kind of I fired from the hip on that one. But until you address the heart issues in the closet spaces of your heart, those problems will always find a way to either follow you or will find a way for you to create the same problem that you left. And that when I realized that it's not necessarily that Hawaii is where my heart is wherever God calls me to be, whether it's in Oregon or Hawaii. Then I realized, okay, that's how I'm going to be more effective in my time here. And I will say that through all the harshness of being here and being in a new place, um, man, we were given so much opportunity uh, to travel. We've been to so we we've been to Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, Colorado several times. Obviously, Seattle, Washington to visit family. Traveled throughout Portland. Now we didn't do a lot of touristy things or hiking things, just to travel. It's so easy here because, bro, I'm telling you, if you are born and raised Hawaii and you've never left the islands, like my kids, this is the first time they ever left Hawaii. My wife as well. Well, as far as moving, it's such a luxury to get in a car with a full tank of gas and just go. You can't do that in Hawaii. Like in Hawaii, like, after about an hour, you're like, "Okay, I'm done." There's nowhere to go. Well, Big Island, maybe 4 or 5 hours, right? So, uh, that's one of the blessings of being here, and I know that I put Why I Left Hawaii Part 1, and the reason why I did that is because I know that we're gonna be writing more chapters on why we left Hawaii. Now, we still go back and forth. We still have, property that we are planning to build a house on a Big Island, and, part of it would be for income producing, for Airbnb, purposes, but I think also eventually to be able to have a place where we can call our home for a season, however long that is. But, one of the things I will say is that I'm getting better at, and so I know we're gonna bounce around now that I got everything out. If you are, following me for the first time and you don't know who this guy is, so if you're on, even Twitch or YouTube, I think YouTube has my links, and also Twitter. I'm gonna share with you guys on screen because 'cause I'm fancy like this. Wow, check this out, I'm fancy. Here we go. So this is my website, therealglo.com, and if you haven't been there, well, this is kind of a redesign if you have been to my website before. My old website, uh, is in, like, dead website cemetery, meaning I don't know what happened, to my old website, my old blog. So I do have like this is a blog. Unfortunately, it's only it's one blog, it's one post, and I will add more as time goes on. I don't know. I may do Chat GPT, let Chat GPT do it for me. So just to play around with it. Uh, I do have some swag. So anybody that likes to buy merch or swag, whatever you want to call it, I got some. Now these are pretty basic. Honestly, these are just things to help me generate income, but also to tag people with some connection to Hawaii and to me. This is some gLo, which I'm gonna get rid of these. These are all outdated. I'm gonna make some fancier stuff, some really cool stuff. Because if you're gonna spend money, I want to make sure that you get some quality. Now the products are quality, just the designs are not. So I gotta work on that. So that's that. If you're on social media, this is my Twitter. If you don't have Twitter or X, definitely open up a X account. If you want to really get to know me or all the details, and this definitely is where you want to go because Twitter is where I do the most updates. So to my Twitter family, I apologize if I don't see your comments. I'm using a software called StreamYard, and so StreamYard and Twitter do not have synergy just yet. So, what else do I have? Of course, my Instagram. If you didn't know, I'm actually I like to play around with photography. This is my old office view. I won't let me play it, but this is my dog Lily. I won't spend too much time with this, but I did a lot of drone photography, drone video, those kind of things. So yeah, if you like all the fancy pictures and stuff, that definitely my Instagram. And of course, I'm on TikTok. Who isn't? My YouTube and Twitch. So that's my website, and I will close that out because I'm fancy like that. But Twitter family, thank you, or X family, thank you for jumping in. Let's end screen or stop screen. There we go. And I am working on my camera skills, so uh, we're gonna get better at it. So, but thank you for those of you that have been with me throughout the years. I've had people that have been with me since 2015. And I want to share a story. I know this is titled "Why I Left Hawaii," but I was on a Spaces. So if you don't know what Spaces is like an audio podcast format where it's kind of like a town hall where people can come in and talk story or chime in. But what I've been seeing a lot on Spaces, on Twitter, on X, is that people talking about how to build communities and how to build, followers, all those things. And one of the things that I've come to realize that you've got two main forms of building communities. You have one which is organic, which typically organic, unless you're a superstar celebrity, organic growth tends to take the longest unless you are someone like the crazy plane lady who saw imaginary people on the airplane. She blew up to like, I don't know, over 100,000 followers within minutes of her creating her Twitter account. Her Twitter account or X account has more followers than her YouTube account. So that's what I call organic growth, where it takes a little bit longer unless you're like a fancy celebrity. And the other one is uh I forgot what the word I used. Non-organic growth, I guess you could say. Um or one that uses glamour metrics. So I think there's a time and place for both. And I'm gonna check my phone for my Twitter people. So Unsinkable Molly. Thank you for joining Unsinkable Molly. So anyways, getting back to the whole idea of Spaces X, those discussions. One of the things I want to stress is to never underestimate the power of one. And what I mean by that is it doesn't matter how many thousands of people may show up in a broadcast, whether it's 1,000 or 20 or 500. Back in 2015, I went live on Periscope, which at the time was owned by Twitter. Now we know it as X. I was live and I was doing I think a beach broadcast where I was at the beach in my office view, and this dude came in and we ended up talking story on while I'm live. He ends up coming to Hawaii to meet, and we talk story and we start having discussions, and I'm just blown away by his talent. Some of you guys may know him as Egg Drop or Joey, and I was able to partner up with Joey, and we had two other guys on our team where we had a service that was AI based back in 2015 now, 2016 actually. AI based content moderation and engagement or conversation engagement in a live stream. So what that means is if I go live, if I'm a girl, whatever, and I'm dressed a certain way and guys start going crazy, start typing sexual comments, well, our AI based software program was able to go in and engage for you, whether it was to tell them to stop, to ban them, to mute their conversation, or tons of other features where it would engage in conversation, friendly conversation, of course. And you had full control over that. And so that's what we had. And we filled a void that Twitter had in regards to creating a healthy platform on the live stream arena. And so if you type hashtag egg DRP on X, you'll see a ton of videos, live streams of what we did. And I say all that because the power of the way never under there will always be that one person who watches you or checks your content and is like, I wonder if I should meet that person. You just never know how powerful that connection can be. And in the midst of us building these communities, building all this content, trying to get all these growth hacks, and sometimes I think we forget about that one person whose life you can change. Maybe and this is not a preaching channel, but I will tell you this: we've been fortunate and blessed to be able to uh, so people that would reach out to me in direct message because they know who we are and what we do, and we've been able to pray with people and just kind of walk a few people through some tough situations and some tough things in their lifetime with no agendas, and so I say all that again to never underestimate how powerful just one conversation can be. To not be so focused on building a mass following, not realizing that one person, maybe that one relationship that would change your life. And I will say that meeting Joey, the founder of Egg Drop, and for us to partner up together and to work on something that's so great, it changed my life. It changed. I mean, it's just, it's crazy. So that's my soapbox on that. Um, what else can I share before I close? My website, my social media. Um, I am going to be buying some new equipment, so I'm going to go back and listen to my audio. If you're not following me on Spotify, and you like audio, I'm going to upload the audio to that after this. I'm going to work on some lighting, some background stuff. So, um, for those that are in the live or in the replay, if you have a moment, post up in the comments where you're watching from, what city, what state, or even what country. Um, and I always try to acknowledge live, but some lately it's been hard to figure out how the algorithms operate in X um, or X primarily. So, what other news do we have? I shared about why we left Hawaii. That was a pretty short story. Um, if you haven't watched or listened to the Theo Vaughn, I think Theo Vaughn's his name, when he talks to Roseanne Barr, that's a good listen. I promise you. Whether I don't care if you like her or not, I honestly didn't care for her. As a kid, we weren't allowed to watch the show just because it was radical. But she says some pretty interesting things, and I'll share this to maybe pique your interest. Theo Vaughn had asked her, "What is the best thing about being a parent or grandparent?" I think he said, and she said that what one of the best things about being a parent is knowing that you're able to raise a kid who basically is a good kid. Um, But then what she said, what really blesses her, well, I'm using that word. I don't think she used that word blesses, but one thing that really blesses her is seeing her children become good parents. And she said that makes her feel really special. And I thought that was pretty cool. All the negative media hype about Roseanne Barr, and for media, and this conversation is real, by the way, because there's no time limit when they do these podcasts. There's no time limit. They just talk, and so that's my plan in my space to in my corner. Now, obviously, I don't have the street cred of the other guys, but I don't think it's not a competition. One of the things Joe Rogan said was there's a lot of room here in this space, and we need more people to get out here because what's happening in our media, legacy media, is that, and I'm not getting political by any means, but our legacy media has historically in the past, let's just say 7 to 10 years for me, shown that they are not reliable in delivering information. And it's not so much about uh, telling the truth all the time is that is the issue. Sometimes, um, well, we'll get to the truth in a second, but I can tell the truth about someone who is going through some seriously bad stuff in their life, and that has nothing but negative effect on their life. I'm gonna say that again. I can say something truthful about somebody that's going through some really bad stuff in their life, and that has no constructive effect on their life. As a matter of fact, it has a very strong negative effect. Now, just because you're telling the truth and you're the first one, that doesn't mean that you should be saying those kind of things. And I think we've gotten so enthralled, if that's the word, as people to hear information first, to be involved in the drama. And I ain't gonna lie, I checked my X account, my Twitter account today, and my feelings were almost hurt when I thought about these people are so mean. All I said was how I felt, and it's like all these mean, evil people. Or I don't know if they're evil or mean, but the comments were mean. Like, oh my gosh, this hurts my feelings, but it didn't really hurt my feelings, and I felt bad for them. It's like, man, these guys are. I don't know if they really feel that way, but it feels like sometimes when people get on Twitter or social media, it's like, wow, they're so bold in their negativity, and it's like I felt bad for them. It's like, oh my gosh, I don't think I need to be mean. I just want I just want to share my opinion and talk and share my point of view. And so that's why I'm grateful for this space, and I'm thankful for X or Elon buying Twitter because I think uh, we've heard those stories on other media forums where they were either shadow banned or their content was not allowed to be seen by other parties, people. So, but getting back to this space, and I think I'm going to close it with this. I'm going to close it with a word of encouragement, and I think we need more of that. And what I'll say is this, that I'll lead in with this story about my wife. So my wife, I want to say last week, she says, we were talking about our sons. We got 4 kids, 2 boys, 2 girls. And my wife was like, I don't want our boys to be so consumed with electronics, not just iPads, not just, man, I missed a comment. Sorry. Hey, Emily, good to see you. Um, a little bit late, but sorry about that. Or is it late? Let me see what time it is. Oh no, she just commented, so I got you in time. Posted them. And so my wife said, I don't want our kids to be so focused on electronics. That's all they think about. Now, it's not just iPad or gaming, but even television. And then I was listening to it's a funny statement. I promise you I'm gonna land a plane. Theo Vaughn and I think it was Roseanne, they were talking about how beautiful it is to have children and grandchildren. How, as a grandma, she says, I can play with my grandkids and we can pretend, make believe. And Theo Vaughn said, "Yeah, I like." He said, "He said, yeah, I like playing make believe because whenever when I use my imagination, that's the only way I have a chance." And when he said it like that, I couldn't stop laughing because he's so raw, and I know he messes around and jokes a lot, but for him to say the only way I have a chance is if I use my my imagination. Well, let's connect the dots to my children. There was a time this past year when my 2 sons were on restrictions from their Nintendo Switch for 3 months. For 3 months, they could not play their Nintendo Switch, and why is that? I don't know if they were disrespecting my wife or maybe they were lying or didn't do their chores. I don't know what it is. But I wanna challenge not just parents, but all of us, unless for work, like for me, this is a revenue stream, so, um, to be on my electronic devices, so I have to be on my electronic devices minimum at least 8 to 10 hours a day. So that's how I generate income. So, um, but I want to challenge whether if you have kids or if you have the ability to remove certain things for a certain period of time. And so I was gonna say if you hear clicking in the background, we went to Walmart. We had to buy some presents for for a friend of ours. We're gonna be traveling tomorrow. Uh, so my boys bought these guns. So my wife got, well, my oldest son got this Nerf gun with a bolt action, and it's funny because it's got 2 cartridges, long bullets, short bullets, and it's loud. And so then my other son had this like cheapy $10 gun. The other gun was like $50. I think it was $50 or something. But the other one's like $10, but it's got like a little motor vibrating thing when you shoot the gun. It's got little flashing lights. It's pretty cheapy in my opinion. Uh, totally made in China, you know. Um, but he didn't care. So my youngest son is I don't know the word. He's sensory sensitive. I don't know the word. So he's got to have touch and fidgety thingies. To him, that gun is awesome. He may not have the long range bullets of the other gun, but it's his gun. And so I say all that because their imagination is reignited. Our imagination is reignited when we remove these certain devices, if we can. For me, it's constantly checking statuses or constantly checking likes and comments. And if you have the ability to not check, I will encourage you to pause because here's the reality. My wife, we were driving home tonight, and we were talking about something, and we were talking about what we were reading on social media. And my wife made a comment, and she was like, "I am so upset right now. I'm gonna stop." And isn't that crazy? We can be driving, talking about what's happening on social media and it ignites some kind of anger in us. And so I'm gonna encourage, well, those of you that are parents, grandparents, maybe you or someone that can fast certain types of social media to take a minute from certain things if it's possible. Yeah, so me and Emily are very similar. So her whole life, she's in a much more advanced field, obviously, but um the whole life electronics. Now the difference though is I think people like us or like Emily, there are some things that we can take out or cut out, right? And my boys, I will say, using their imagination, reigniting their magic, I think it's going to be beautiful, and that will lead us up until the next episode of Why I Left Hawaii. So we are Why I Left Hawaii Part One. I promise you, I'm going to get better at conversating or conversing with you and sharing my life. I do thrive off of other people, so, if anybody has a fancy guest that you would like me to talk to, like I said earlier in the broadcast, I've been very fortunate and blessed to be able to have some pretty cool people that wanna talk to me. So, I had a clinical psychologist, I had a retired Marine, force Marine recon, by the way, force reconnaissance Marine. So and then, of course, Papa Bear has been, when he comes back, stateside, I wanna do it organic with him for sure. Like, we sit in the same room and do it because this electronic format is good, but I wanna be organic in a room with the same person. So I promise I'm gonna get better doing these, but in the meantime, I wanna be as real and organic as possible, and I don't want to sugarcoat anything, but I also wanna deliver things with excellence. I wanna deliver, messages with integrity. Did I say that already? But, I wanna make sure that what I bring to you has some value, that maybe you learned something, maybe you had a little chuckle or a laugh, and maybe I didn't rob you too much of your time. And so I do believe long form content is not just the way, but I think people are tired of swiping up and down, left to right, and falling asleep and, um, having the phone hit them in the face. I'm gonna play a quick ad because I'm practicing for, Spotify. So I'm gonna play something real quick. I hope it comes out. I'm gonna play it. Hold on. Here we go. Aloha, family. Have you ever been watching those funny YouTube videos late at night in your bed and all of a sudden you get sleepy and that bugger just hits you right in the face? Well, go to archon.com. They are a mounting solutions company. They have everything from tripods for personal use to mounting solutions for those of you that are commercial drivers. You got a motorcycle, they got motorcycle mounts. I don't know why I'm talking like Sean Connery, but this is how I'm going to do the commercial. So if you want mounting solutions where you don't hit yourself in the face watching funny YouTube, TikTok videos late at night, go to archon.com. Make sure that you put in Hawaii at checkout for 20% off your entire order. Make sure to put in Hawaii, that's Hawaii at checkout for 20% off at archon.com. So I hope they came out and not just dead silence. So that's my audio ad. I'm gonna do a video one for I do have a Archon video commercial that I play on my live streams for video. So I'm not sure if it came out, Emily. I hope it did. I'm gonna read a comment by Emily. So most drama on social media makes me scared, so I avoid it or I troll the haters. And if I'm a mod like Greg, I give them a chance or tease them and then block them and mute them, depending. You know, to reply to that, Emily, I will say that I would say 98% of people that troll or are negative on social media would never be like that in real life. I believe that, and I think the freedom that social media has given people to just say stuff without consequence, it is unfortunate. But I do agree with you. Like, well, I wouldn't agree for me personally. Like, I'm not scared in the sense of, but it does get to you if you're not careful. You will check your phone 10 times an hour just to see what they said about your comment. And I will say this, that at least for me, I'm not validated by comments, likes, shares, tweets, retweets, reposts, whatever. I don't need people to tell me how good I am in order to feel validated. At the end of the day, I know who I am, and I know like there's so many different purposes in my life and different seasons. I know who I am, and one why I was created to be here in this season. And so while I'm here in Oregon to answer my own title, why I left Hawaii, is that my primary function and basis to be here was to be with my brother, to love on him, and to remind him that he's loved, and to remind him that he's not alone, and that even though he's in the toughest battle of his life, that he's not doing it alone, and that not just me, but my wife, my children, our dad, we are committed to walking my brother through this season, this chapter of his life. And we will not quit. We will not leave his side. He's got no wife, no kids, no family other than us. He is my only brother. It is a no-brainer why I am here in Oregon. And that is one of the reasons why I left Hawaii. Thank you for listening. Hope you guys enjoyed this 45 minutes now, pretty soon, of me talking. I hope you guys are liking, reposting, retweeting, sharing this out. If you're not following me, make sure you follow me on all social media outlets. I will be doing this again. I do have a very special guest lined up. I can't announce their name just yet, just because I haven't confirmed. And I am working on getting my legal paperwork stuff out of the way. So because this is at the end of the day, I'm being about my father's business, but I'm also want to make sure I treat it like a business. So, uh, family, be blessed. Hope you guys enjoyed hanging out with me. Emily, appreciate you. Those in replay and live, X family, thank you. Spotify listeners, man, you guys are awesome. I will see you guys on the next one. As I always say, thank you for your time. Thank you for your hearts. For those of you that are on X, thank you for tapping the screen. And thank you for your data. For those of you that gotta pay, I don't think people pay for data. But anyways, thank you for just being here. You could have been any other place, but you chose to hang out with me, and I will not take that for granted. And I really appreciate it. Until next time, God bless you guys. Ahui ho, aloha, and mahalo. Chee